Welcome to I Didn't Know, the podcast unpacking the unspoken truths about migrant life in the UK. I'm your host, Raymond Bentum, a proud trade union rep, health and social science student, and someone who's spent years advocating for equality and migrant rights. I'm also a two-time USDA Equality Award winner and the first graduate of USDA's Breaking Down Barriers program, where the fight against inequality and underrepresentation began for me in earnest. And here's one quote that shapes my journey. Education and awareness of your rights isn't a privilege, it's a lifeline. In this episode titled, What's Normal Back Home Could Get You Arrested. Here, we'll explore the cultural habits that, though harmless or even expected in your home country, can get you in serious legal or social trouble here in the UK. Real stories, real confusion, real consequences. Back home, discipline is often physical. A child misbehaves, you use the belt, you slap their hand, you shout, but here in the UK even a tap can be classified as assault on a minor. And social services don't play. 2022, a Ghanaian couple in Manchester had their children taken into temporary foster care after a teacher noticed bruises. They later admitted to disciplining them with slippers, something completely normal in West African homes. The father said in court, "I didn't know it was illegal, that's how I was raised." The problem? UK law prioritizes the child's psychological well-being, and what you call discipline may be seen as physical abuse. Even name-calling or threatening punishment can get flagged under emotional harm. Where we come from, a 16-year-old dating a 21-year-old may raise eyebrows, but it's rarely seen as a crime. In the UK, power dynamics and safeguarding laws matter. Even if the age of consent is 16, schools, workplaces, or family power structures change the story. In 2023, there was this viral Twitter thread. A Nigerian-born student teacher in Birmingham was removed from a placement after dating a Year 11 student aged 16. His defense? She said she was 18. The school's position? You were in a position of trust. So even if someone says yes, the law can still say no, depending on the context. You could be labeled a predator without realizing what rule you broke. In many African homes, the man is the final decision maker. You control the money, decide the house rules, and expect obedience. In the UK, that's called coercive control. And it's illegal. Back in 2018, BBC News reported a Ugandan man jailed in London for emotional abuse and control. He forced his wife to hand over her salary, checked her messages, and limited her phone use. His defense in court? It's how we do it in our family. The judge said, that's not how we do it in this country. Coercive control is a crime here, and many migrants, especially men, get caught out simply because they weren't educated on the shift in social norms. Back home, you don't apologize unless you've disgraced your entire family. You defend your honor. But in the UK, failing to apologize can make you look unaccountable, aggressive, even, guilty. So, in 2021, a Ghanaian driver in Leeds was stopped by police for a minor speeding offense. Instead of cooperating, he shouted, "Do you know who I am?" and resisted arrest. The video went viral. Public backlash followed, and one officer later said, "If he'd just said sorry, we'd have let him off with a warning." In many migrant communities, disputes are handled by family elders or community leaders, but in the UK, bypassing the legal system or confronting someone the traditional way can actually, lead to harassment charges. So, in 2023, there was this viral TikTok video, right? It showed a Ghanaian uncle confronting a landlord over unpaid heating. He actually brought along some witnesses and started shouting outside the landlord's home. The video ended up getting like 200,000 views, but, the man was later arrested for intimidation. In your hometown, that kind of thing would have been seen as respect, but here in the UK, well, it's a police matter. So, why does all this matter? Because, honestly, so many migrants suffer in silence. They lose jobs, lose their children, or even get arrested. Not because they meant any harm, but simply because no one told them the rules had changed. And that's where education comes in. That's where trade unions, awareness campaigns, and, yeah, even this podcast come in. I didn't know isn't an excuse in the eyes of the law, but it's probably the most honest truth for so many of us starting over in a foreign system. If today's episode opened your eyes or reminded you of something you've experienced, please share it. Let someone else learn before they make the same mistake. Subscribe to I Didn't Know, and let's keep these conversations alive. Next week, we're diving into why immigration status affects everything, even when you think it shouldn't. From housing to healthcare to schooling, your status matters more than you realize. Until then, I'm Raymond Bentum. Keep asking, keep learning, and never be ashamed to say, I didn't know.